Hi everyone, it's Suzanne. Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share with you all the books I plan to read for Middle Grade March. For those of you who don't know, Middle Grade March is a readathon hosted on BookTube, and the three hosts are Amanda from The Curly Reader, Krista from Books and Jams, and Katie from Life Between Words. And I will link the three hosts in the description below. If you love middle grade as much as me, please make sure to hit like on the video below. And let's get started. If you want to see more videos about middle grade, please make sure to take a moment to hit the subscribe button and the bell down below to be notified when I upload more videos this month for Middle Grade March. Like most of the readathons on BookTube, the hosts have provided a list of reading prompts. This year there are 6 reading prompts, and included in the reading prompts is a group read, and the group read this year is called The Brave. This is by James Bird. Colin is a young teen and he has a condition that causes him to count the letters every time words are spoken, and of course this makes him a target for bullies. And when he gets in a fight and gets kicked out of the final school, his dad sends him to live with his mother, and she is on the Ojibwe Reserve. And when he gets to Duluth, he discovers that his mom is very welcoming, and so is the home. And he meets the neighbor, who is a girl who's living in her treehouse waiting to turn into a butterfly. And with Arenda's help, Colin starts to work through his many challenges. The second challenge is to read a book with a silhouette on the cover. That is many books, but I chose this one, Secrets of Shakespeare's Grave, and this is by Darren R. Hicks. And this is one of 2 books in this series. And the reason I chose this book, I'm not sure if you saw last week's video where I showcased Shakespeare's books for kids. The reason I made that video is because Shakespeare Week is happening from the 15th to the 21st in March, and we're reading as much Shakespeare as we can. I thought, in keeping with that, I looked for middle grade books that were about Shakespeare, and I came up with this duology. And this is for middle grade, of course. And I'm just going to read you, I'm not that familiar with these books, I'm going to read you the back, a little bit of it. An ancient riddle etched into the frame of a family portrait. Rumors of a hidden family treasure. A string of unexplained accidents and mishaps. And in this, Colophon Letterford's, her name is Colophon, Letterford's only clue to the mystery is threatening to do, oh my goodness. The only clue to the mystery is threatening to destroy her family. And with time running out, can she solve the mystery? Can she discover the link between her family and Shakespeare's tomb? Sounds like fun. The third book is to read a book with a strong family element. So for that, I chose Evander Beeker's Lost and Found. The reason that I chose this is because we're reading one of these a month, and this will put us up to date. I absolutely love this series. My daughter and I have enjoyed these. I would highly recommend the audiobooks, which is how we've been listening to these books. And this is about a family with 5 children that live in Harlem, New York. And in every book, there's some sort of challenge that they have to figure out, the kids. And they're very imaginative and very close-knit in their own family in terms of siblings, as well as the brownstone in which they live. There's a couple upstairs, and then the landowner of the building lives in the top floor. And they're also really close to many community members. It's just always such a feel-good, these books. I love them. The fourth book is to read a book that features a journey or some sort of adventure. And I've been dying to read this, so I put this on my list. This is called From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler, and it's by E.L. Konigsberg. And the premise of this book is a little girl and little boy decide to run away from home, and they go and end up living in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And this is around the same time that a mystery makes the headlines. And I thought that would be a really fun adventure, and I can't wait to read this one either. The fifth prompt I'm actually decided not to do, and this is a retelling. And I didn't have anything in my home, and I decided there's so many great books I want to read, I can let one go. The sixth and final prompt is to read a book that was published in the decade you were born, and I was born in the 70s. I'm just kidding. So I chose to read Bridge to Terabithia, and this is by Catherine Patterson, and I love this story. We've watched the movie a couple times. I hesitated because I always cry quite a bit. However, I would love to read the story as opposed to just watching the movie. And I've heard, of course, many, many great things. And yes, this was a Newbery Award, so you always know that there's going to be a good story. Those are the 5 books that I'm going to read for the reading challenge. Now I'm going to show you the rest of the middle grades that I've added to the pile that we may or may not get through in March, but I definitely want to showcase them for you, and I would love to read them all this month. First, I'll show you the books we didn't get finished from our Family Reads basket. And these were 2 of the books that I had picked out because of Black History Month. And the first one is Elijah of Buxton and Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. And this one I loved, and I did get through part of it. It was on audio. It was absolutely beautiful. The audiobook expired, so I put another hold on it. It just came in, so I started to listen to this beauty again. And I am about halfway through this one with my daughter. And this one we're also listening to on audio, which I really love. They have a lot of accents, so it's wonderful to listen to it on audio. It helps set you more in the place as well. This is Elijah of Buxton. Buxton is a settlement that's on the border of Canada and the United States. And it's a settlement where a lot of people ended up coming on the Underground Railroad. And there was a settlement there, and Elijah discovers that one of the runaway slaves has stole his friend's money that he was planning to use to buy some of his family members from the South and to bring them to Buxton. So it's his journey, Elijah's journey, going into the States to try to get that money back. And Brown Girl Dreaming is all told in verse, and this is about Jacqueline Woodson growing up in the 60s and 70s. And she says that it's also not only her story, but also people of that time period as well. And like I said, it's very beautiful what I've listened to so far. And the last book that we're carrying over from last month as well, and I said in our Family Reads basket that it was a possibility because it was such a huge TBR last month that we might not get them all finished, but we carry them through to March, so that's what we're doing. And this is called The Castle of Tangled Magic, and this is by Sophie Anderson. And we were reading that because it was a Touch of Whimsy's book club selection for February. So we are almost halfway through this book. We have about 4 going at this point in time, and this is one of them. And this is about 13-year-old Olia, who ends up trying to save her family home, and she goes into a magical world to do that. And there's a scheming wizard that's trying to destroy this magical world, and also, which would translate into destroying her family home as well. So Olia is there trying to save her home and this magical land from the wizard. Oh, and by the way, it's very magical and it's a lot of fun. We're both loving it. When I say we, it's my daughter and I again. The remaining books I'm going to show you sound fantastic. I would love to be able to get through them in March. I'm not sure if we'll have time. I'm trying to read most of these with my daughter, so I don't read them as fast as if I might if I were reading the middle grade on my own. But I'm going to mention the books. So this one is Roald Dahl's The Magic Finger, and we've been reading one of these a month until we get through all of his books. And I asked Vivian to pick out the smallest one for March. Simply because we have such a huge stack, but I wanted to make sure we continue reading one of his books monthly. Yeah, I wasn't even sure what this is. Suddenly, a sort of flash comes out of me like something electric. It jumps out and touches the person who has made me cross. Anyway, I love his books. They're usually quite amusing and funny. And this was the second one of the duology, the Shakespeare books that I mentioned. This is called Tower of the Five Orders. Again, that is by Darren R. Hicks. This is the same characters and a new mystery. Hopefully, if we love the first one, we'll definitely get into the second one. And this one I know will definitely... Oh, no. Look at that. It's all beat up. This one I know will definitely finish because we've already started it and love it. So this is called The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and this is by Kelly Barnhill. And if you're watching a lot of BookTube videos, you know that this is a fantastic book. Everybody I've heard talk about it, gushes about it. This is another Newbery Award winner. Every year the town sacrifices a newborn baby to the witch in the swamp in the hopes that she won't terrorize the town. It turns out that the reality is the leaders of this town have been doing this to keep everybody in order. The witch, her name is Anne, doesn't want any babies sacrificed. She always takes the babies to a neighboring town on the other side of the forest and finds them a home. But this year, instead of giving the little girl starlight, she ends up giving her a drink of moonlight, which makes the child very magical. So she ends up keeping the little girl with her. So Zan the witch calls the little girl Luna, and as her 13th birthday approaches, her magical powers begin to appear, and they are starting to make things dangerous, and we'll see what happens from there. But like I said, so far we're a quarter of the way into it, and we're loving it. And this one I saw mentioned. I've watched so many middle grade recommendations over the last couple weeks. I can't remember. I'm going to have to start writing this down. Who recommended this book? I actually think I've seen it on, I saw it on 2 or 3 different booktubers videos. And this is The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane, and it's by Julia Nobel. And it sounded so great. I definitely wanted to grab it, and hopefully we'll have time for it this month. And this is about Emmy. Her dad disappeared and her mom is a bit too busy to parent. So she ships her daughter off to Wellsworth, which is a prestigious boarding school in London. Before she leaves, she finds a mysterious box of medallions in her attic that belonged to her father, who had also gone to Wellsworth. So she takes them with her, and she finds the strange symbols etched into the school, into walls and books and everything, which leads Emmy and her new friends Jack and Lola to Wellsworth's secret society, the Order of Black Hollow Lane. She can't help but think that the order has something to do with her dad's disappearance, and there may be more than just dark secrets in the halls of Wellsworth. And I love the settings where there's a group of kids trying to solve a mystery, and of course, who doesn't love the school setting now that we've all read Harry Potter? Next one, I have been wanting to read this for quite a while. This is called Ginger Pie, another Newbery Award winner. And this is by Eleanor Estes. And after this there's another one called Pinkie Pie. Of course, I've read wonderful reviews. I mean, it is a Newbery winner, so that's not a surprise. And this is Meet the Marvelous Pies. She's the youngest woman in town, and Mr. Pie is a famous birdman who handles all the nation's important bird problems. Rachel Pie is so reasonable she can make unreasonable ideas sound good. Jerry Pie, who knows about rocks of all sorts and plans to grow up to be a rock man, and Uncle Benny, who's only 3 years old. Last is Ginger Pie, the intellectual dog. The most famous pup in all of Cranberry Ginger, and he knows tons of tricks. He's loyally smart, and he steals the hearts of everyone until someone steals him. The final book that I'm going to mention is the second book in a series, and this is The Wild Robot Escapes, and this is by Peter Brown. And I have to say, my daughter and I loved the first one. Like, sometimes you read a middle grade book and it's let's just say this one took me by surprise. The first one of this book, The Robot, took me by surprise, how much I loved it and how much she loved it. And I thought it might be a little bit too young for me, but it absolutely was not. It seemed like the perfect combination of a middle grade book for both the parent and the child. It was really amusing and cute, and there even had a little bit of mystery as to what might happen. I guess it was the enjoyment of seeing how the world looks, even on an island, from a robot's point of view, as a robot tried to understand his world and interpret his place in it. And it was really a lot of fun. So we've had this on our shelf for months now, because as soon as we finished the first one, I ordered this one. Oh my, it's probably over a year. I thought, this is it. Middlemarch, we're doing it. We're going to finish this book. It's the perfect middle grade book. Those are all the books we plan on reading for middle grade March. I'd love to know if you are participating in middle grade March, or if there's a middle grade book that you absolutely love. Please leave it in the comments below. And do remember to like this video and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos of this type. These are the books we're planning to read in March. These are all the middle grade books we plan to read in March. And if you'd like to participate in middle grade March, or you'd just like to have another middle grade recommendation, definitely check out my middle grade book hauls, because I describe the books in those as well. And there's quite a few middle grade series in a couple of those videos as well. So check those out for sure. And I will see you soon with another bookish video.